frogs, dogs, and logs. Sorry, cool cats and kittens is already taken, so I've come up with frogs, dogs, and logs. Well, in this video, we're going to introduce you to the AutoCAD interface. In other words, what AutoCAD looks like and what some of the features are. So after opening the AutoCAD software, this is usually the screen that you see first. It's called the Start screen. Mine may look a bit different from yours because I work in AutoCAD and I have previously created drawings showing up. Well, from here you really have two choices. Either open a new drawing file that's blank with nothing drawn inside of it, or open an existing CAD drawing file where you have previously drawn things and save them for use at another time. Well, since you're new to AutoCAD and haven't really had a chance to create or draw anything yet, let's open a new drawing file. There's a couple of ways to open a new drawing file. I can click on this big square that says Start Drawing. I can click on this little scroll bar here that says Templates, and I can choose ACAD.DWT. That's ACAD.DWT. This is the default template for AutoCAD. Or I can go up to this big red A at the very top left-hand side of the screen, and I can click on it and I can choose New and also choose ACAD.DWT and click Open. For the most part, you always want to choose that ACAD.DWT template unless you're using, for say, my special ID template, but I'm going to go over that special template in another video. So for now, let's just stick with the AutoCAD default ACAD.DWT template. When you get it open, you're going to see that the screen changed a little bit, and that's because a new drawing tab opened. And you can see that right here kind of in the center. There's Start, which was where we were, and now we have a drawing tab open. So just to kind of explain what you're seeing on the screen, I'm going to start with that big red A that we have already gone to. This is called the application menu or the menu browser, and it acts like a file in Microsoft Word. If you need to save, if you need to open, print, import, export, this is where you come to do this. This is a pretty basic button and one that you use almost every time that you work with AutoCAD. Moving on to the right of the application menu is the Quick Access toolbar. And this bar holds the icons for various shortcuts like printing and saving. The two arrows that you see right here are the undo as well as the redo button. The arrow pointing on the very right hand side is how you open up the hidden options panel. So anything with a check mark is actually showing in the options bar. Anything without one is not. A lot of times I like to have plot preview checked, and there you see the icon added into the options bar. Directly below the Quick Access toolbar is the ribbon. The ribbon holds several tabs, which in turn holds panels, which in turn holds command buttons. So in AutoCAD, we just call them commands. And commands allow you to start drawing or modifying objects as needed. The three tabs that you are probably going to use the most are the Home tab, the Insert tab, the Annotate tab, as well as the View tab. I don't really use many of the other tabs hardly at all. Now underneath the ribbon are the drawing tab views, and we kind of went over that already. So anytime that you have multiple drawings open, you're going to see them span across this entire screen. Now you can tell that this is a drawing tab that we're in, not only because it says drawing 1, but also because it has this black screen with a white grid, and we call this area model space. It is so named because this is where you draw your models, your line work, where you go to create floor plans and elevations and other technical drawings. On the bottom left of the model space, you see this little XY axis kind of looking coordinate system. This is called the user coordinate system. It helps you understand what orientation you are in. So the default in AutoCAD is the XY coordinate system, very similar to what you use for geometry. Now, if you ever see the Z coordinate arrows over here, you know that you're actually working in a three-dimensional view instead of a two-dimensional view. Now, to kind of aid 2D and 3D, over here on the top right part of the model space is what is known as the view cube. It helps you go from 2D to 3D with a couple of clicks. You can also rotate the model space around if you need to, be it two-dimensionally rotating it or three-dimensionally rotating it. I recommend not worrying too much about this until you actually start working in 3D. We don't really mess with it much outside of that. Now, underneath the view cube is what is called the navigational panel. Model space allows you to zoom in to do some crazy detailed work. So here you can see I'm zooming in. And then you can also zoom out to see super big things on your screen. So the navigation bar helps you pan around, it helps you zoom, it helps you orbit, it helps you do a lot of things. Now, if for some reason you cannot find your UCS arrows, your view cube, or your navigational panel, go up to the ribbon and go to the View tab. And then on the very first panel, you're going to see all three of those. If they are turned blue, it means you can see them. But as soon as I click and they're not blue, you can see that it actually disappeared on the side of my screen. So I'm going to re-click navigation bar, and there it's back up and running. Now, underneath the model space are what we call the layout tab area. We may draw in model space, but in order to print, we have to set up sheets, similar to how newspapers and magazine layouts need to set up. So we call that area where you set up for printing paper space. So there's model space tab, and then there's layout 1 and layout 2. Those both are called paper spaces. And I'm just going to click on one so you can see it. The gray area is a background, and the white area that you see is representing the piece of paper that will be printed to a printer. Now, each drawing will have only one model space, but you can create multiple paper space layouts, one for each sheet in a construction set. Now, I promise we are going to go into much more detail about how this works, but for now, just know that this is where the layout tabs are located. To the right of the layout tab, I'm just going to go back to model space so you can see that. To the right of it is the command bar. And as you start working with AutoCAD, every time you start a command, this bar will prompt you with what to do next. It is very important to pay attention to this command bar. If you ever get lost while you're drawing or modifying an object, look to this command bar. It will help you and guide you as to what you need to do next. Last but not least, to the right of the command bar is what is called the status bar. It controls the way you draw or the options you have to draw with, whether you want to use the grid or turn it off. See, I can turn it off or on as I need to. The other buttons located on here help you, use extension lines as you start to draw. You can snap lines to each other perfectly on ends. They can help you draw in angles instead of just straight up and down or left and right. There's a lot that these little symbols and buttons down here can do. And again, we're going to go over all that, but I just want you to know that this is the status bar and this is where it's located. Well, in a nutshell, that is the interface of AutoCAD. The rest of this series is going to help you learn what commands are available, how to draw and modify objects, how to set sheets up for printing, and so much more. Thank you so much for watching, and we're on to the next.